The United States Constitution is often described as a miracle, a perfect document, a product of wisdom, unity, and democratic ideals. But the truth is far more uncomfortable. Because the Constitution was not born from agreement, it was born from fear, from secrecy, and from a deal so controversial that if it had failed, the United States would have collapsed before it truly began. This is the story of that deal, the deal that quietly created America. In 1783, the American Revolution ended. The British Empire retreated. Independence was secured, but freedom exposed a terrifying reality. America had no real government. The country was operating under a weak agreement called the Articles of Confederation, a system designed to avoid tyranny at all costs, and it worked too well. Congress had no power to tax, no power to regulate trade, no power to enforce its own laws. The federal government could ask states for money, and the states could simply say no. They often did. Each state behaved like its own country. They printed their own money, imposed tariffs on one another, argued constantly. America wasn't united, it was fractured, and everyone could feel it breaking apart. Then came the event that terrified the political elite, Shays' Rebellion. In 1786, thousands of angry farmers, many of them Revolutionary War veterans, rose up in Massachusetts. They were drowning in debt, crushed by taxes, ignored by lawmakers, so they took up arms. Courthouses were attacked, judges were threatened, the rule of law collapsed, and the federal government could do nothing. To men like George Washington and James Madison, this was not just unrest, it was proof that the Republic was failing, proof that liberty without authority led to chaos, and proof that something drastic had to be done. In 1787, delegates were invited to Philadelphia. Officially, the goal was simple: revise the Articles of Confederation. That was the public story. But behind closed doors, many delegates arrived with a far more radical plan. They intended to destroy the Articles entirely and replace the government. The convention was sealed off, windows shut in summer heat, guards posted outside, no journalists allowed, nothing spoken inside could be shared. America had no idea its government was being rewritten in secret. Inside the hall, conflict exploded immediately. The big states wanted power based on population. The small states feared being erased forever. The arguments became bitter. Delegates threatened to walk out. At several points, the convention nearly collapsed. If it failed, the Union would fail with it. Salvation came from a quiet, behind-the-scenes negotiation. Roger Sherman of Connecticut proposed a deal, a compromise no one fully liked, but everyone could live with. 2 chambers of government, one based on population, the House, one based on equality, the Senate. Big states gained influence. Small states gained protection. It was never voted on by the people. It was negotiated in secrecy, and without it, the Constitution would have died in that room. But the most morally disturbing compromise was still ahead: slavery. Southern states made it clear: no protection for slavery, no union. Northern delegates faced an impossible choice: break the Union or compromise with injustice. They chose compromise. Enslaved human beings would be counted as 3/5 of a person for representation, a decision that poisoned American politics for generations. The Constitution was never directly approved by the American people. Instead, it was marketed. Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay wrote the Federalist Papers. They promised liberty, balance, protection from tyranny. They did not mention the secret deals. They did not mention the compromises with injustice. They sold stability. The Constitution was not designed to maximize democracy. It was designed to control it. Checks and balances, electoral systems, indirect elections, all built from fear of collapse. America was not born from unity. It was born from compromise, from secrecy, from fear. And that secret deal still shapes American politics today. The Constitution saved America, but it also locked in conflicts that still haunt the nation. History doesn't disappear, it waits.